I mean,
You're right. I went in there. I went in there like a little girl in a candy store,
yeah,
like you don't know what's going to come. You don't know what kind of sweets you're going to be seeing, which one tastes the best in the sense of who's going to be the fastest. And I think the Olympics is always like, after the Olympic Games, I realized that the cards can be mixed very quickly,
very quickly.
just because even though you're racing the same people, maybe at Europeans or at World Championships, people always say, yeah, but on the World Championships bigger? I'm like, no, they're not. Because World Championships for us is just swimming, synchronized diving, and synchro swimming and water polo. So water sports. And you're like, no, the Olympic Games, it's so difficult to describe when you have never been there, but there is so much more pressure from the outside that if you win an Olympic gold medal and if you win a world champs medal, that the Olympic gold medal, its value is so much more because the people and the media have put so much emphasis on it.
Yeah.
So going to the Olympics after that, I did realize it's just the same people, but it's just bigger around. And that's what made that little innocent girl realize, ooh, there's so much more to lose, which there isn't, but that's what people keep on telling you.
I want to talk about you guys. Thanks for your support. Thanks for the subscribe. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the comments. We want more to push the movement, like I usually say. So this is very welcome to help us. Today, I have a very, very special guest, like I used to say again. This is my sister from another mother. I'm very happy to say that. We met back, I think, in 2000. I have the honor today to receive one of the world's best breaststroker swimmer, Sarah Poewe. Salut Sarah, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Good
Did I
to see you
did I
again.
pronounce your name properly?
Kind of. There's so many different ways of saying it, but it's Poewe.
Poewe. Sarah Poewe. Sarah Poewe.
But it
Welcome in
sounds
the
good
show.
like that.
Welcome in the show, Sarah. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to our chat today, Greg.
I'm very happy. I'm very, 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 very
Thank
happy.
you so much.
Very happy to have you as well. So it's a special moment in your life. We want to talk a little bit about your personal life. There is a boys coming in 10 weeks. How is pregnancy doing? Good.
It's going well. The first pregnancy was 5.5 years ago, so it's a lot different since then. But so far, everything's good.
Everything. Are you training? You're still working out and training?
Very, very little. I'm doing a little bit of yoga, the little namaste and stretching. that's keeping me going.
So before we dig in, I just want to come back on the swimmer that you were with, trying to go through your resume of your results. You won a medal at the Olympic in 2004 in a relay with Germany. You won a medal at FINA World Championship in 2009. A lot of medal short course in 2003 and 2004. You win the title in 1500 breast short course, European short course championship. And you participate to fourth Olympic, which is huge, like 2000, 2004, 2008, and 2012. I wonder why you didn't go through 2016. We talk about that. So you had a pretty long career. Lots of good results. You swam from South Africa because your mom is from there and your dad is German, and you decide to switch after 2000 or going to 2004. We talk about that and try to understand the reason why you change. I'm very curious about that too.
Greg, I've got one. I've just got to help the little one very quickly.
Okay. You have a huge international palmarès. You probably would say that you should have a little bit more than that. I want to talk about that but I never had the talk with someone who finished so close from the goal they were expecting, they wanted to have. And I like to have that conversation because we talk a lot about the winner, and the winner like this, I would say, because to me, winning a medal is not just the weight of winning. There is many way of winning. Me, in 2000, I didn't win. I made Olympics, but I didn't win any medal. But I met my wife, and and that's the reason why I'm in Canada today, and that's the reason why I have those kids. So that's why a little bit my medal, but I want to address that as well. So when you look back at this, like long time ago, like 2000, like Sydney was in 2000. When you look at all your career, how does that make you feel? Are you proud? Do you have some regret? How do you see that? How do you watching it?
So 2012, I retired, which is 9 years ago. So a lot has happened since then, but a lot I learned through my swimming career, a lot. So my life was swimming, that's for sure. I made it my life, and I loved every second of it. So it was obviously a lot of hard work. Maybe some things nowadays, looking back, there's so much has happened since then. So much more has developed, with the technique, with the training, everything around it. So a lot has changed. And sometimes I guess I wonder what would it be like if I did things maybe a little bit differently to what I did back then. But I think I did everything to my possibility the right way, when I was swimming back then. It wasn't easy at the beginning, that's for sure. Starting off in South Africa, there were many small barriers to overcome, but we made it. It was with a lot of struggle, with a lot of help from people, to get me overseas, to travel and everything. But it's made me such a independent, strong person. Having to leave South Africa and get on a plane with the age of 10, the very first time by myself into like a foreign country, and going to Hungary on a couple of training camps and not being able to speak the language. So it was very, very challenging. And I often talk to my mom about things like, you just put me on a plane and you just told me I must go and swim fast. And then the faster I swim, the faster I'll get back home, like the typical things a mom would say. But if I think back, it was quite something that I did it, and through the help of my family and the support of my coaches that I've had throughout my career, I've made friends for life. That's how we met.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's how we met. That's how we
Greg,
met. Exactly.
I think it's funny the way you said it, because also I see you as a brother to me too, because I'll never forget when we met in Adelaide in the training camp, just before we went to Sydney, and I met so many people there. Kirsty Coventry, who's a good friend of mine, we were all there from Zimbabwe, all the African nations, and that was just, I think, the beginning of something amazing.
I want to come back on that. So you start to swim at 10 years old. You are discovered by your mentor and friend today, Carolee Van Toros, who's a great guy. This guy has been a swimming international coach, model in his life. I don't know. He had like 15,000 life, like more than a cat. So we salute him. We salute him today. Hi, Carolee. If you watch it, you are next in that show. So so you made your first international debut at 14 years old at the Pan Pacific Championship in 1997. 3 years after, you win the World Championship short course in Athens. You win the 50 breast and 100 breast. This was just before the Olympics. So,
and I just missed the world record in the 50 breast.
Yeah,
so that was like a big thing. I wasn't tapered. I wasn't prepared for that. And I think that was a lot like the turning point of the relationship of my coach and myself, Carolee, that how can you say, things became very realistic very quickly. You know,
Very
that
clear. Yeah.
we were definitely on the right
Path.
way to get to the Olympics.
Yeah.
But a lot of things that year changed for me immensely. Sorry, I've got the birds tweeting in
No
the background.
problem. No problem. Yeah, that's fine.
Crowley's something very special. I mean, he is definitely, I call him a mentor, not just a coach, but he's seriously a mentor because we traveled a lot together, and he really taught me about the world, about everything around it too. It wasn't just flying to competition and getting ready for the heats, semi-finals and finals. It's like in between the races, and we had the afternoon off, we actually went around the city a little bit, and he's a very well-traveled person, so he could tell me a lot also about the culture. And he's definitely like a father figure to me because he opened up my eyes to everything around me, not just in the swimming world. And I think without him, I don't think I would be here where I am right now, beyond swimming, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and I followed my passion. It wasn't just about, which I thought was very nice that you said that. Obviously, we all want to become Olympic champions, for sure. You know, that's what we strive for. But everything I did with passion, and I did my best to what I'm capable of. And of course, people say, "Yeah, you should have. Why didn't you?" You know, but I knew what I was capable of. Do I wish I maybe would have won? I'm sure. I think everyone does. But I had such an amazing career, and with the help of Karoli, like really showing me the way, it made opportunities, and it made me see the world a lot different. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
I see. I see. I was trying to address the fact that as an African, because before, and that may be why the reason you moved toward Germany, but we'll come back on that after. But as an
Yeah,
African, we have different struggles that people don't understand. Like
definitely.
sometimes there is money for a competition, and 2 weeks or 3 weeks after, that money go to someone else, or you're supposed to
Sure.
receive it, you don't. Me to travel to Sydney, it took us 3 days, 4 days. To Adelaide, it took us 4 days. We slept at the airport. Some tickets were missing. I mean, it was a mess. But this is sometimes the
Completely.
organization is not very like in the Occidental countries. Sometimes
Yeah.
we have struggle on that, and it helps. To me, all the struggle helped me out to be the man that I am in some way. And I remember in 2000 with the team, we slept in Sydney, in the airport in Johannesburg, going to Adelaide. And of course, we could not go out in Johannesburg because they say that it's so dangerous and whatever. So we slept in the airport, but we create a bonding in the team
For sure.
by sharing that time, and everyone of that team remember that, and that's where that Olympic journey starts for us. So in the struggle, we had a lot of good times, but that's a African journey. When you are from Africa and you do sports, and you
You
are not yet,
appreciate things a lot more.
you are not there yet. It's
Yes.
hard to get the support, the right support, and the right
Yeah.
money and on time. So it's a big bravo to you to have been able to go through that, even
Thank
with
you.
those struggle, and to be able to achieve a part of your dream with them at the Olympics in 2000. So let's dig in 2000. In
Yeah.
2000, you are kind of a favorite because you getting out of short course championship, you missed that world record on the 50 breast, you win the 100 breasts. In the series, you have the best time. In the semis, you have the best time. I see you coming in lane 4 for the final, and you finish fourth place. Everyone was thinking that I'm sure that there is no other way for you to not be on the podium, but the race is a race, right? So when you're looking back at it, coming back on the first swim and the second swim and the third swim, what really happened there to you? Was it nervous? Was it strategic? Was it technique? What happened?
It wasn't a strategy, that's for sure. It wasn't a strategy. I think I went into the Olympic Games as being, I would consider myself an underdog, to be honest,
Oh yeah,
because
okay,
you know, I think my time going in was around about a 108 late.
108
And
one or
I ended
something.
up going a 107 3, you
You
know.
go, if I look it up, you went like 1080 in the series, 1074, and then 1078.
Exactly. So
The final.
107. So I think just at the Olympic Games itself, I already did a PB in the heats, you know, like by 1.5 seconds. I think I just something around there, because when we were training and preparing from the, I just did I did 100 from top, and it was a 108 in training. So we knew.
Sorry.
So swimming the 108 during training just before the games, my coach and I, we definitely had a feeling it was going to be something's going to happen, you know, but you don't know, obviously, on that day how you feel and that. So we were very, very optimistic. We tried to keep it in the low. And after swimming the heat, which went very, very well for me already, and then swimming the semifinals and going into the final. Perfect. Yes. So swimming the final, going into the final in the fastest lane, wow, it was very, very difficult because we had the 3 swims, you know, before that.
And it was the first time.
Finals. And that was the first time. So there was a lot of, I think for me, that time before the finals came, I think before the finals came, I had too much time for myself, if that makes sense.
Okay,
so,
too much time to think?
To think, yes. I mean, I had the morning, the day after the heats and the semis, you know, you wake up and it's kind of like your normal routine. You go to breakfast. And a lot of people that I made friends with, good friends, are like, oh, you are guaranteed you're going to win a medal tonight. And I think that I think something changed in me, which made me that little naive little girl to being more like realistic, like actually too involved now about what everyone else is thinking, instead of just going and having fun, because that's what Crowley and I said, you know, it's your first Olympic Games, enjoy it, just swim how you swim. And I think I was just thinking way too much going to that final. I was very nervous, obviously, because at that point when I was standing on the block, I'm like, at the end, I was like, oh, I'm also going to win a medal for sure. And when you look at the race itself, the swim itself wasn't bad. But for instance, I had that turn, and my turn was very bad. And I mean, that can cost you hundreds, tenths of a second, a bad turn.
0.3 for sure.
I think that turn, for instance, was like where I lost the medal, if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
And when I came out, the craziest thing is that I was so upset. I mean, I was only 17. And one has to remember, it was my first time. I come from South Africa, you know, this small little girl, not out of a big federation like America or in Australia, where you're already like accustomed to kind of winning medals when you go to the Olympics, you know. And for me, it was like, when I saw Crowley, I was just crying, and he was crying, and he wasn't crying because he was disappointed in me, not at all. He was crying because he knew how much I wanted it, and it was like something that we were both dreaming of, obviously, of something that we didn't expect. So I just think it was a lot of like built up excitement, and obviously a little bit disappointment. He was upset for me, if that makes sense. You know, because he knew that I wanted it, and he obviously wanted it for me, and it was something very emotional, because we were really like a team, and that's was so special about it. You know, it wasn't like a coach, or, you know, you have some coaches that come out like, what happened? You know, it wasn't that at all. It was just like, it happened. You know, obviously you're going to
you had that bonding with him, very, very close. You had a huge bonding. There were that bonding with him. You know,
definitely, it was a moment. It was very, very real. It was. Actually, I should have been very happy. Do you know what I mean? Like, what should I have been? It's my first Olympic Games. I came fourth. Wow, but fourth is like such a bittersweet. You know, sometimes I say, oh, I'd rather come fifth. You know, but it was if and when, and I think it's so it's not good to say that, because, then you go back and my life might be different by now if I would have won a medal in the individual event. You don't know what could happen. So I was happy, but I was obviously for myself disappointed. I did very, very well at my first Olympic Games. I came 6 in the 200. I did a personal best. I came from the 6th to the 3rd place was like nothing,
Yeah,
So
0.3, I think.
yes, I mean
0.3, 0.36.
Yeah. So I made a final, and then I actually think we came 5th in our relay, in our 4x100 medley relay.
Yeah. With South Africa, so it was huge.
Yeah. So we had a very, very strong team. So I think the good and the crazy thing about 2000 was that it was an amazing experience, but that changed a lot inside of me, like wanting more, which is good, but don't let others influence your mind and your mindset.
I love what you are saying. I love what you're saying.
And that's what happened. I think that's what happened. I was a little bit going in there.
But you said something very important. Very important is your plan with Carolee was always to have fun and race for fun. And
definitely
getting into that final, you didn't have, like I usually say to my swimmers, when you go behind the block, okay, you are smiling, you have to race. Sorry, you are stressed, but I want them, and I learned that from another coach. I want them to give you the belly smile. I mean, if you don't smile outside, you should be happy, because that's what you work for. That's was your goal. So I have a friend in France. His name is Yacine, and he used to tell me in competition. He used to say, "Today it's a party day. Today it's a party day," because that's what we are aiming for. That's competition is the gift. It's the little cherish on the cake. Because we work so hard, and watching you in 2000 in Adelaide in Australia training, I gotta say that I was like, wow, you. I haven't seen since in breaststroke a lot of women or men train the way you are training. You were training F-ish hard. Carolee pushed the boundaries very, 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 very far. And I gotta say that, and I'm gonna share that, and you probably add up the comment on it. Carolee at the time accepted to train a guy with you, and his name was Vigus Nenaber. And Vigus was my friend. I have a lot of fun with Vigus. Vigus, I salute you as well.
Cool.
And
Vigus was my training partner.
And Vigus in the set was a good man, good swimmer. He was swimming for, what was his country?
Swaziland. Wasn't it Swaziland?
Swaziland. He was swimming for Swaziland. And one of the reasons why Carolee wanted to have him in training was to push you. And he was always ahead of you, like a lièvre in how do you call the guy you put in front of you in running, to
like a race, like a pacemaker.
A pacemaker, exactly. He was your pacemaker, and he accepted that role, and he helped you a lot as well in training. But you guys were training, wow! Every day I had so much fun watching you. And to me,
I remember that actually very well now. If I think about it, even the swimming pool right now, I have this like picture in my mind where we were in the swimming pool, and you were often sitting on the side, even talking to Carolee during the sessions and that. That's right. Crazy.
To me, I knew, I wanted to coach. I knew as well that I would not have a chance to win any medal. I qualified for the Ivory Coast. That was the goal of my life. But it was a different Olympic for me. Being there was winning already. So, but I always knew I wanted to coach. So I decided to use those opportunities to meet people, to observe, to learn. And I learned so much through the journey from 2000 to 2005 around the world, and all those competitions that I've done. And that was the beginning of that. And watching the determination, watching the discipline you had in your training was really, really, really impressive. And to me, it's always good for coaches to have those image of. It was a good experience for me because now coaching, if I want to push my athletes, I know how far I can push them because I have many examples and I have what I think they can do. But because I witnessed some of that, it helps a lot in coaching career. And I'm sure you as a coach,
Definitely.
I'm sure it
Definitely.
helps.
I
It
know
helps you out
exactly
when you
what
have a swimmer complaining. My God, you don't know where you are going because it's not going to go easier.
Definitely. If I think about the stuff that that I had to swim, and because we had such a good, healthy coaching athlete relationship, is that I never questioned why I'm doing it. Obviously, you're crying underneath the water. You don't want to swim 3/800s breaststroke, But I think at the end of the day, I look back and I'm like, I'm happy I did it. Sorry, Greg.
No problem. No problem.
That's enough. Don't watch now, okay? Giving you TV here.
So,
So yeah.
so the thing is, we lost from watching you train was very, very hard, but you had fun and you loved it. And getting in the Olympic, to me, I put you on the favorite side because you win short course. We don't know any Leslie Jones yet. I mean,
You're right. I went in there. I went in there like a little girl in a candy store, like you don't know what's gonna come, you don't know what kind of sweets you're gonna be seeing, which one tastes the best in the sense of who's going to be the fastest, And I think the Olympics is always like, after the Olympic Games, I realized that the cards can be mixed very quickly,
very quickly.
just because even though you're racing the same people, maybe at Europeans or at World Championships, people always say, yeah, but aren't the World Championships bigger? I'm like, no, they're not. Because World Championships for us is just swimming, synchronized diving, and synchro swimming and water polo. So water sports. And you're like, no, the Olympic Games, it's just, it's so difficult to describe when you have never been there. But there is so much more pressure from the outside that if you win an Olympic gold medal and if you win a world champs medal, that the Olympic gold medal, its value is so much more because the people and the media have put so much emphasis on it.
Yeah.
So going to the Olympics after that, I did realize it's just the same people, but it's just bigger around. And that's what made that little innocent girl realize, ooh, there's so much more to lose, which there isn't, but that's what people keep on telling you, And I remember a very good friend of mine, actually, funny enough, Fernando Scherer.
Yeah.
We became very good friends and I spoke a lot to him. And, he was also one of my idols back then. And we were talking and I still remember I got myself an ice cream that evening after the semifinals. And he's like, he was just like, Sarah, this is absolutely amazing. I mean, I felt like I was like a nobody, not in a bad way, but I went in the Olympics and everyone around me were like the legend. I was just, visiting. That's how I felt, But then you have someone like Fernando sit down with you, a very well-known swimmer, and telling you, enjoy the moments, And at that point, a lot of people, like I said, at dinner, your friends that you make and your teammates, oh, you're going to win a medal. And he always acts like, just enjoy it, because don't put this pressure on you. But I mean, you're 17, you come from an African country, and it is like that. You don't have, it's a very different support system that you have when you're in America or in Australia, these big federations where they kind of teach you and train you, you just being thrown onto like a big soccer field and all of a sudden you have to perform, and it's crazy. So, yeah, that changed me. And I do see like when I listen to other people's stories, I listen to other people's setbacks. I listen to these stories, these depression phases. I went through a very, very hard time at my third Olympic Games, where when I look back, I'm like, oh my God, like, it's not just all this fun and glory, which is so sad because it should be, because you're spending your whole life preparing for this single moment every 4 years. And then just something needs to happen, or these expectations that are being put on you, and you unfortunately get sucked into this, changes everything about you and the way you feel, and the way you feel about yourself, that you're not good enough. So swimming has definitely, in lots and lots of different aspects of my life, has made me stronger. I mean, one says, through things that don't go as planned, or doesn't go as well, maybe certain defeats and that, but you do learn to get up, look at it again, and move on. And swimming, or sports in general, I think teaches you a lot about trying again.
In your preparation to those events, when you visualize it, did you think about try to visualize different case than the perfect race or the winning race? Did you visualize when you were 17 what could happen if it doesn't go right? Because I went through a couple of good episodes with the best jumper, and then I had a teacher that I have in 2001 who really, really influenced me in my way of coaching.
Yeah.
His name is Francois Guinaudeau. Is really the one I recorded I would say 1 or 2 weeks ago. And Francois is putting the human being in the center of the performance, where we should push the athletes to explore, to discover more by themselves than the coaches when they guide too much through or toward the exploration or the discovery you want to make. If the coaches tell you where to put your hand exactly, you might make a connection. It might make sense for you. But if you discover it by yourself, you're going to take ownership a little bit more, There's that the story of Anna Pierce. When I had a good interview with her, she's telling me that Joseph knew exactly what she wanted, but she had to find it. And when she found it, she felt it, and she shared that with him. And he finally told her that
he didn't. Interesting story to tell. Give me 1 minute. I just need the toilet.
Go ahead.
Back.
Yeah.
So talking about visualization, that's maybe, first of all, one of the aspects where I think I wish I had more knowledge about it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
In 2000, I was working very close with a sports psychologist based on that. Like after 2000, a lot of stuff changed in me. I became too aware of things, if that makes sense. I was too interested in what people were saying, and I let that kind of take over in certain things. And he helped me a lot in that time to start visualizing about races. But I don't think I ever got to that point where I hear about a lot of athletes talk about the exact way they're going to race, or every single stroke. For me, I think what I lost on the way was believing in myself, if that makes sense. It wasn't more like like I said, if I think about it, I really would have loved to have learned more about that. I don't know if maybe I just didn't have the correct tools for that. But the self-esteem was more important to me. So there were many years after that. Yes, I won a medal in 2004. We can definitely talk about that. But there was a time between 2004 and 2010 where just everything went wrong. Not that I didn't do well, but I think I could have done a lot better if I believed in myself. And in 2008, there was a point, funny enough, I actually have a tattoo of it.
Yeah.
It says believe. It's not in a religious way, but it's in the belief that instead of people always telling you, I can do it, it's not about that. It's about you. It's about you knowing and really, really believing. And it was one day at training, and it's absolutely crazy. I maybe had it like 2-3 times in my entire life, really, if I think about it, where for a split second, I was in the middle of a training set with Crowley, and just something clicked, and my whole perspective of everything just changed. Of that, I really, for some feeling I had inside, I'm good. Like, I can really do this. And for that time frame of going to my Olympic trials in 2008, I broke the European record, 100 breaststroke. You know, I swam a personal best time, qualified for the Olympics, 200. I beat Anna Paleska. She was the favorite, obviously, in the 200. And I walked on that pool deck. I'll never forget it. It was such confidence for myself, not this, oh, I'm better than everyone else, just believing in myself, you know. But in that same year, I lost it again. It's very, it's crazy. Like,
You got it and you lost it. It came like he went out, like he came like boom, click, like this.
Yeah.
Like that.
You know,
And the way it came, sorry, the way it came, can you consider that it was a moment of discovery for you, like when he came
totally.
and clicked?
It was something it's so difficult to explain. Like, I don't really talk about it because I talk about it maybe with someone who's been in the swimming world as high up as you, that can understand that. You know, you can't teach someone believe in yourself. You know, you hear a lot of people like, yeah, you can do it. I mean, I've heard it so many times, but it's not about that. You know, yes, you may believe I can do it, but what's the point if I don't believe in myself, you know? And it was, I think, like discovering something about myself, but at the same time, exactly like 2000, I think I had that feeling again, going to the Olympic Games. You know what, whatever's going to happen, I'm capable of doing whatever I need to do, to the point right after the Olympic trials, it evacuated because everyone came back and said, well, you are definitely going to win a medal at the 2008 Olympic Games. And that time between trials and going to the Olympic Games, I was at a point I didn't want to go anymore. So it pulled me down so much that I had this pressure building up again inside, this is what happened in 2000, that I pulled myself so down, and I was so upset about, like, oh my God, I'm going to Olympics. People are ecstatic, you know. I don't want to go. And that's
But
what happened in the Olympics.
the expectation from South Africa to Germany changed as well. So that you have to mention that, because we don't talk about 2004. In 2004, you do the best second time in the morning, second time in the semis, and again you finish fifth. And you go to that process again in 2008.
So you see, there's like it's actually like, as soon as I feel like there's too much pressure, boom. I was in the best shape of my life in 2008, for instance, the best. And although I was so prepared physically, my head said no. So, and you see, maybe that is the reason. I mean, if I think about it, I think it was 4 or 5 times, world champs and Olympics, I came like 4 or 5 times 4th place, which is such an uncomfortable place, you know. Sometimes you wish you were in the 5th, or, you know, just to kind of like keep that distance. But of course, I think to myself, oh, I had this bad streak or this bad omen. But I think for me, sometimes I do wish I maybe had a little bit more support on that area. And when I listen to other stories, then I see.
But don't you think that being German, when you decide to swim for Germany from 2000 to 2004, I guess, well, you're German, like me, like my mother is French, my father is from Ivory Coast. I have both nationalities, and you have the opportunity to have both nationalities, and you knew that going there, you will have more help, more support, and everything, I guess, right?
For sure.
And you feel German, and you feel as much South African. You don't, because it's like asking you to choose between your mother and your dad. I mean,
exactly. When I'm visiting South Africa, I feel like as soon as I walk in through the borders, I'm home. When I come to Germany, though, at the beginning, I wasn't sure how it would adapt, because it's really very different, the cultures.
Okay.
But I must admit, Germany made me feel very much at home. And I think obviously being able to speak the language, the people were very welcoming because I was able to communicate immediately with them, you know,
Yeah.
and I felt very much at home. I still feel like I have roots here now. You know, it's taken a long time for sure. Do I miss South Africa? Of course. So I do see South Africa still as part of me. You know, I have quite a few tattoos for special things in my life that have happened. And I actually had this one or 2 years ago, that the African continent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my heart is in
Nice.
Africa, but I always
Nice.
fly away, you
Yeah.
know, but I will always return. And I guess the situation, everything around us was a different type of pressure. But at the end of the day, it was again a pressure that I allowed to take over. And
I think you are a little bit rough on yourself, because again, I was trying to bring that to you is, again, what we, like, people as well have to realize, German swimming was very, very strong at the time. And
Yes.
the pressure from the media, the pressure in Germany is huge, way different than it was treated in South Africa. So you change, you win momentum with money, with help, with support. But as well, you have to deal with something new that you never used to.
For sure.
That pressure. And coming out from two huge deception in 2000 and 2004, your mind probably remember that, and that pressure, I mean, you didn't expect that much pressure.
Greg, I went to the Olympic Games. Seriously, I mean, I was crying at home. I remember that my mom was like, Sarah, you know, you've made your third Olympic Games, but it wasn't about just like going anymore. It was about like, I know what I can do. I know what I've been training for so many years now, and I am not ready. And, you know, obviously as a supportive mom and my brother, you know, do your best and do whatever you have to do, you know. But it was the worst Olympic Games for me. You know, it was an experience, like fantastic being there, but deep down, like I stood behind the block in the 100 breaststroke of the heat, and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? I could actually sit down on the block and cry. And no one knew that at the time, because I feel like sometimes the people, they don't allow you to be upset, if that makes sense. It's like, wow, you win the Olympics, you're going to the Olympics, you're going to do so well, you're going to win a medal, you know, your trials, you won the 100, 200, and you stand there and you feel like so small behind the block. And I remember, you know, you say good races, good races, I don't really remember that much, but bad races, you feel every single stroke. And that was like the worst 100 breaststroke I'd ever swum. And it literally was painful, you know. It wasn't the fact that I wasn't physically strong enough.
Yeah, you prepare.
I got out of there and like, oh, you know, you didn't make it into the semis. I'm like, thank God, you know. Then the 200 comes and they're like, and, you know, very difficult to talk about it back then. Now I can talk about it.
Yeah.
I had breathing problems, but it wasn't breathing problems of an asthmatic. It was my anxiety that was making me scared, you know. And by the time the 200 breast came, I scratched, because I was like, I can't breathe. I'm doing my warm up and I'm having like problems, and I really thought there was something wrong with me, you know. And after that, when I walked away from the Olympic Games, it was terrible, because it was like, oh my God, like, this is it. I'm going to stop now. I've had enough and I can't take the pressure anymore for myself. And coming back and being able to do 2012 was obviously like, I had to find myself again, find the love of the sport, find that little kid inside of me, because yes, I've made 4 Olympic Games, which is like, I still say to myself, because even my mom says to me, but Sarah, you know, you've accomplished so much. Of course, you still want to like do more and more and more. But wow, yes, I've made 4 Olympic Games, you know, and every games I wanted it to be special, that I was really passionate about. And I'm very passionate. A lot of people say, why did you swim so long? You didn't make so much money.
You loved it.
You know, you get a lot of people that are like that, you know, and I'm like, yo, you could have been working at age 25 already. You would have a job now. Greg, I loved swimming. Like I truly I had the passion for it. I knew it was hard work. Did I love training every day, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning? No, I hated it. But I did it because I knew I had something. I wanted something so badly. And, having to discover myself again after 2008 and thinking like, is this the way I really want to finish my career? Because we know as a swimmer, coming out of retirement is very difficult.
It's not easy.
Very, very difficult. And I knew that if I stop, I'm going to stop. I don't want to do half measures and try out for something else. That was me, because whatever you do in the future, you will always compare yourself to what you swam your best times. It doesn't matter how old you're. One is like that. We as swimmers, as athletes, you always compare to your best,
Yeah.
So I knew that I had to find something. And for instance, 2008, I went back to university. I finished my degree, which everyone said you won't finish because you took 2 years off. And I'm like, if I do something, I will finish it. So I went back to the States, got my degree. And that's when everything, like a lot of things changed in my life, because I was like, I took a break from swimming. I didn't get in the pool for a few months. And then slowly I got that feeling of just getting back in slowly. And then I actually went to Dave Salo in 2010, because I said to myself, when I stop, I want to be able to look back and say, I've trained with this person, or I've been able to train with them. And 2010 was a crazy year just for myself, not swimming wise initially. It was just to find that passion again, find that just swimming hard sets and, feeling sick after training. I know it sounds weird, it's like pushing your body. And I met incredible people there. I mean, we had a group of 20 Olympic gold medalists, Kazuka Kitajima, Max Rogan, Rebecca Soni, Jessica Hardy, Osama Maluli. The list goes on. In this group, in this training group in LA with Dave Salo, and it was phenomenal because it was a fun time. And I learned a lot about myself, because in his program, you have to learn about yourself. Like, what do you need? And, a lot of the years you've been guided. And this is the first time you kind of like, you got to figure out things yourself.
I love what you are saying. And he's bringing me back straight up to Francois, like too many way of coaching. And it's different thing. Like I started to explain to you earlier, like there is a P1, like he said, which is the athlete, who make the discovery, who try to find to own your own discovery and try to explore and make en français we do invention, creation. You want to create, that's what you do in a race, that's what you do in competition. You coach. Sometimes as a coach in the week we try to teach them the right way, and they go in competition and they show you who they are. They show you their singularity by showing you the dive you never saw, by showing you the stroke you never saw, by showing you the push off the wall, the streamline you never saw, and the stroke probably, the aggressivity, the rhythm probably you never saw, especially at a young age. And we see the difference, but as coach, we are not able to bring that up in the program after, because that should be the base. For me, as coach, we should identify what they do well in competition and push them to discover more and more about what they are doing there. But you have been guided and a little bit too much, but it was the old way of coaching. The old way of coaching was a bit
the way back then. Exactly. It was very, go that way.
Just follow. If I ask you to put your hand this way, put your hand this way, do this, do that, and you follow it, because as you say, you don't question. And it's not the way you have been educated, and no blaming to Caroli. I mean, this is a way to coach back in the days, and it takes you.
Greg, I think without that way back then, I don't know if I would be the successful where I am.
Yeah, no, because in 2010, finally, when you are close to the end, you start to know what you need, you start to know what you feel, you exactly have a very good idea of, and this is what make that sport so great is when every passion you like so great. That's why as well so many athletes or so many persons hate what they did for many years, what they are probably had success, but at the end, like Francois said, there is mediocre gold medal, mediocre not such like you win on the paper, but you didn't do it with your own singularity. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Completely.
And the P2, which is the coach, which is us, or the science, or the parents, we're gonna come with, as coaches, with our own paradigm, our own believing, our own education.
Definitely.
And too much time we are going to impose that on a swimmer. For example, what I'm doing since 10 years, when I talk technique with my swimmer, I'm asking them to give me their A+, not mine, because mine is way different than them. And I know that, and I have to fight that paradigm as well, because they will never do exactly what you have in your mind. They have to do exactly what they have in their mind, I mean. And that's what counts. And I'm so glad that you are bringing that point. And in 2010, you finally start to click, and that context probably help you out to make that click. And I'm sure that now when you are coaching, and as I said about athletes, when they do discover some other passion after their career, and they have so much fun by themselves because they make some discovery by themselves, they explore by themselves. We don't push them to do this. Like, for example, you want to paint, you are an artist, right? I see athletes as artists, as intellectual people, with high intellectual level people, you know? And you don't ask to an artist to paint like another one. He has his own singularity. You have to keep your own character. And if your stroke is different and you're fast, I don't want you to swim like other one. Back in the days, it was amazing to have 20 swimmers who look like the same. And that's bullshit to me, because it's impossible. We are all different. The strokes are different. So I have an idea of the freestyle I love, but all of my 100 swimmers, and I have so far, they don't swim the same. They don't swim the same. And you see some nation, especially back, Popov was a bit different, but especially back in the days, the 80s, in the 70s, in the communism a little bit, where the kids were just there and doing what they were told. So you were, another swimmer was looking like another swimmer, you know? And to me, that's very, very, very important to respect. That's a struggle, and a lot of coaches have. They don't realize it. I think that I know, I'm aware of it since a long time, but still, it's a fight. It's a fight, because sometimes did I push too much? Did I ask, like, is that me or them? Like, watch out if you want them to go for it. You want them to, because when you are behind the block, we are not there. We are not there.
No.
At all. And at the end on the road, I took that from a soccer coach. It's not the result who's going to count. It's the consequences after. You know? Definitely. So if you have the result, but realizing 10, 15 years after that you are not having so much fun, you are not creating so much on your own, then you say, it was fun, but you understand why you hate it that much now. you know, and then you move to something else. I think it's very, very important to respect that human condition. And I know it's very, very hard, and it's very, very hard to do, but you as an athlete discovering that in 2010 is amazing for me to hear. I mean, I have to say as well, Sarah, that we made both 2000 and 2004. Then I quit. Last time I saw you in international competition was in Montreal, probably 2005. And the girl that I met in 2000 wasn't the same in 2004. And you were changing, and I felt like you were in a research of your personality, kind of. You are looking up for yourself. Talking to you right now, I mean, you're way different. I can feel that you are very grounded. You have your own character. You have, but you always had that. I mean, you had that at 17. You had that at 17, but going through with the pressure and the swimming and everything and the success, and it changed a bit. And it's very, very hard to stay.
Everything around me changed, because I mean, like, right after the Olympics, 2002, I moved to the States, till 2006.
Yeah.
So then I had to learn, coming from a small international team. We 15 total of 15 athletes, and I can't remember, to a group of 30 in the German team, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And going to the States, I was in a team of 60 athletes, 30 girls and 30 boys. I had to first learn to be part of a team. Like, if you know what I mean, like a team. Like the Americans, they do definitely have the gift of the gab of making you feel part of a team. So I had to learn other things now. Here I was fighting for myself, being like, this is your road, you've got to do that, which is true, because at the end of the day, you're standing behind the block by yourself. You yourself are responsible for what's going to happen now, in the water, whatever's in your hands, if that makes sense, But so there I had to I had to adjust to a different coach. It went better than expected. I mean, one never knows. And then deciding to move home, to go back to Karoli, to just kind of focus on the Olympic Games, got everything great till the trials, and then it just went down again. And then it was like, okay, now go back to the States, finish your degree, but now hang on a minute. I don't want to just stop like this, And 10 years later, so I was 27, worlds apart in a sense of swimming wise for me too, where I wanted to go. Literally had 2 bags. It sounds kind of crazy, and just went over for spring break. Us Maluli is a very, very good friend of mine. I also call him like a brother because we all come from an African nation. So I literally stayed with him. He showed me how USC is all about, the Trojan team, the club team. I met Dave. I fell in love with the place immediately. Within 24 hours, I'd already decided, okay, this is where I'm going to go before I need to go anywhere else, And packed my bag, lived with a girl in one bedroom in LA, a girl that I met in college, who wasn't an athlete, We literally shared a room, and I ended up I lived in the house with Katinka Hotsu and her ex-husband and another athlete. And I was really part of a community there again. And that felt so amazing. And then being able to swim with all these amazing athletes, but seeing that they're also normal people. You know what I mean? It's not like they're living this. They're actually all there because they're kind of escaping their own world. I mean, Kazuka Kitajima was in LA because, if he's in Japan, he can't just be who he wants to be. And the same with Marcus Rogan, all these people that didn't go to the college but went to the club team and wanted to train with Dave Salo. It was like a little family, and we often even did things together. And it wasn't just about swimming; it was about everything. Going to competitions as like friends. Even being able to train with Rebecca Sony and Jessica Hardy, who I became very well good friends with. And that passion of friendships, and that was so important to me, like being an athlete, just making friends, sharing your same experiences. It doesn't matter to what level, but the fact that we are all on the similar road, different ways. And then I stayed there for 1.5 years, and then came that point in January, February of 2011, yes, where I said, now hang on a minute. We've got one more Olympic Games coming up. Where would it be for me to be the best possibility to prepare? Because at that time I knew what I needed. I knew what I needed around me. And you're going to laugh, being what the people call professional swimmer. I don't know if you can really call that. I had no money left. I had 0 on my bank account because LA is very expensive. And I worked part-time. I worked at Lenny Kreiselberg's swimming school for little kids. I was a coach there. The Royal Swim Club, which was fantastic, just to make a little bit of money so that I can train and just be part of this team. Literally packed up within 2 weeks and moved to Germany, because that was the next phase of my life, where I said, okay, I've got my support team, I've got my
still have to face that.
Team. And with a new coach, which was very, very challenging at that point, because now I'm like, 28, 29. Here comes Sarah, who's had 3 Olympic Games behind her, with a coach that she doesn't know and has just over a year to prepare for the Olympic Games. So it was like I literally put all my cards together and said, I'm taking this one card, and it's just like my lucky draw. And literally I just focused in. I did everything. I did the training. Wasn't always easy, obviously, because at that point I was very experienced to know now what I really needed. But the coach and I, we just had this fantastic coaching understanding that when the Olympic trials came, and I said to myself, like, listen, after this is the final thing, you know, if I make it, I make it. I'm going to put everything towards it. Went to trials. I missed the time. And I was obviously heartbroken. I was like, okay, I've done everything. And the funny thing is I had a plan B. At that point, it was for me, like, that was it. My mom and my family came to Germany for the trials. And then my coach said to me, like, Sarah, you've got the European champs in 1 week in Debrecen. Funny enough, Debrecen is like my hometown in a sense, because my coach, Karoli, I've been to Hungary about 10 times on training camps and everything. I've been to this pool. So it's like going back into time when I was 10 years old, I'm going where it actually all started to kind of like end my career, you know? So it was like, I take a lot of that stuff with me. I do. I make it like a personal thing, and I put a lot of thought in things. Even maybe people say I'm a little bit crazy, but it was like, okay, this could be it, you know? And literally went to Debrecen and I qualified. And, you know, making that 100 breaststroke was just like all I wanted to do. And I went into the Olympic Games just absorbing everything, just being part of it and enjoying it. And I was the oldest breaststroker in the field. I think I came 11th in total. And Ruta, I think, won the 100 breaststroke back then.
Yeah.
So there's 15 and there's a 29-year-old, you know. And that was just like phenomenal for me. You know, I walked away and I was really happy, you know, looking back on
because I think you like, I do think, what was the name of your coach in Germany?
Farshid Shami.
Okay. Is he still coaching?
He is still coaching, but he's in the south now.
So I think that this guy was a bit more P1, a bit more coaching on the human side, and let you do a little bit more by yourself.
Like, he gave me the things that I needed, you know. I always questioned things, even though I trusted him. I actually trusted him. It wasn't about the trust. It was just like, when I question things, and I think that's what Karoli always says, that's what's so amazing about you. Like, even now when I coach my little kids, well, not that little, they're between 12 and 15, I like it when they ask me questions, not like, I don't want to swim the set, or I don't want to do this. What's this for? Or just being inquisitive, because that's how I was when I was swimming. It wasn't about like trying to annoy the coach. So if Farshid told me that back then in 2012, we're going to swim the set, obviously I was like, oh, this sounds like terrible, but I'll do it. But tell me why, you know. It wasn't for me to irritate him. Just tell me. And when I knew that what he meant, like, I'm just giving an example. It's about the speed. It's about your start. It's about your finish. I was like, okay, I'm in it. I'm going to do it, you know. And you're right. Yes, it was a training thing, but it was a lot more mentally. He always got me back on track. That was the amazing thing about it. And I'm so grateful. I think every coach that I've had, from Jack Bowley in the States, I mean, him always being at the Olympic Games, for me, was also of a huge importance. I think it's very, very important in general. And I teach my kids that you've got to have a trust. You've got to have a good, healthy relationship with your coach, it's a give and take, you know. And as soon as you start questioning things, ask him or her before just giving up or going to the next coach. And I had these amazing coaches all in the way, everyone with a special thing about them that made them such amazing coaches.
Yeah.
To looking back and being like, wow, I'm not religious at all. You're going to laugh now, but I feel like I'm blessed in that way, you know, like even if I message or if I post something on Facebook, Jack responds and brings back the good memories that we had when I was swimming at Georgia. Or Karoli, I FaceTime with him, telling him about my second child, and being able to share these moments, or congratulating Dave Sella on his birthday and just getting a response, and like, I'm very blessed. I'm obviously sad that it's all over, if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah,
It took
it's
very, very long for me to step out of that. Like, it took me maybe 2 to 4 years to, I don't want you don't leave the world, but you exit it, because it's still going. That swimming world, that
yeah.
swimming family is still there, but your life or your day is not planned around that anymore, you know.
Yeah,
And
some choices like you look at Brooke Bennett history. She tried to quit, she tried to come back, then she was injured, then she was supposed to quit, then na, and whoa, she's still swimming. She's doing long distance training. She's open water swimmer now. She's doing the master. Because she loves it. Once a swimmer, always a swimmer. That's what she say. Why
it's
why people
always,
want me
that's
to quit?
true.
If I love it
Yeah.
and I want to do it, let's go. You know.
Yeah.
And it's fine, and that's her comfort zone, and she's happy about it. But hearing you that it took you a little bit of time to switch on, how do you feel now when you look back to those years? To those
Now I'm
years of
grounded.
struggling.
No,
Sorry?
I'm grounded, you know, like I feel like I belong somewhere. I'm not on the road. I mean, you know, I used to travel so much. You know, I was here, I was there, and living out of a suitcase, which was fine because I loved it. And when I stopped, I missed that the most. I missed just going away for the weekend or doing this, or, you know, alone, like getting to know someone, meeting my boyfriend, you know, going over for the weekend. And now these are such small things, but at the time they were big. So it was like, okay, you know, Friday night you go to bed early because, you know, on Saturday you've got a workout, or you won't drink alcohol, you know, for a certain time because you're so focused on training. And here you are packing up your bag after I was doing some kind of work. I was trying out this new job, literally like packing up your bag and going to your boyfriend's for the weekend, not worrying what you're going to eat, what time you're going to go to bed. So it's like that whole thought process changed a lot, you know.
Yeah, you had to relearn a little bit how
You have
to
to
behave
relearn
in that
things.
world.
You learn, you know, also having kids. Wow, it's like, it's not about you anymore. Not in a selfish way, because everything that you've done, it paves your way. And now it's like you can share it with other people, you know, and I think that makes it so amazing. And something I definitely want to show you, when I turned 30, I think it was when I was turning 30, I got this amazing gift from my partner, from my boyfriend, who I'm still with now. And he doesn't come from the swimming world. He's a physiotherapist. So we learned each other through his work. But he gave me something, and it sums up my entire career in one picture. And
I like to see that.
it's something so special. I've got a few things here, not everything. But if you look at this, it's very difficult to see. But it's literally put together. So he got hold of these pictures from my mom. It's 4 Olympic Games.
Okay.
So you have Sydney, the harbour, London, Beijing, and Athens. You know, you've got pictures in it and behind it. So you got the 4 girls when we won. If you look in the big picture, there's me with my goggles. You know, me touching the wall.
Yeah.
Even the scoreboard when I was going into the finals, seeded first, you know, and me swimming, and in the background you've got the pool. So
beautiful.
It's crazy. It's like a canvas, and it will be, I'm sure it will outlast my life, because it's like a canvas. But it's just something that, wow, like it's something so special to look back on and be like, I don't know, I guess I sometimes, sounds kind of like, you say kitsch, like pinch yourself and be like, wow, I actually did something cool in my life. You want the swimmer to do that, what you see. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, if the swimmer doesn't come, I never missed practice unless I had a fever or I was sick that I couldn't get out of bed. If I had a sore throat or a cough or anything before a fever came, I was in the pool. So if someone comes up to me now, and I feel like a lot has changed, obviously, since I was 10, you know, that when a swimmer comes up to me and I'm like, and says, I've got a sore throat, and I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Yeah, I can't come. But at the end of the day, you know, Greg, I tell them, don't come to swimming. It's not like a mean thing. It's just like, you come because you want to come.
I love that. That's what I wanted to hear, because when you force them and you push them to go,
and I don't need to thank you for that, because I'm like, I'm here to help you. I will take you as far as I can. But you got to remember, like, if you don't want to do it, I will accept it. But then say it, you know, or give and take. Come to training, do what I say, trust in me. We can talk about it. You can ask me a million questions. I actually don't mind I would love for people to be more inquisitive sometimes. I don't see that much, unfortunately. I don't see those questions that obviously I'd like to see more of, because sometimes I feel like it's like little robots just doing what you want to do, but it's not like that. I don't want them to feel like that. I want them to explore and to find themselves, in a sense. Like,
if you stay in the P1 seat, in the human condition seat,
yeah,
you will have no problem.
yeah,
I think. But if you go too much on the other side, like, and you coach now, and I'm gonna take it. That's something that mistake that I've done.
yeah,
You have a swimmer, she or him have potential to be
yeah.
a good swimmer, okay, and you are going to project because you know the potential.
For sure.
You can see it, but the potential is one thing.
But exactly.
But that's. I mean, if she or him have the potential and she doesn't want to, you're gonna fucking break your head on your nose or your face on the wall trying hard to change them because you want. And that's what I learned. And I made some terrible mistakes sometimes trying to push some swimmer while they didn't want to go, even if they say they want. Because every year I have a meeting of the beginning of the year. I ask them, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to win this. I want to do that. Okay, this is going to cost you this. Are you ready to do it? Yes. Okay, let's go. But on the pass, no. You see they're late in practice. They don't train the way they should train in dry land. In the intensity in training, they don't give like what they should give. And you realize that they might have that potential, but you won't make them change. You have to come from them. So what I'm trying to, and it's funny because sometimes you succeed very well with some athletes, and you think you learn from that experience and you forget it. I have a swimmer, her name is Ariane Mainville. And Ariane, you probably know her sister. She was swimming for Canada, or maybe you never met her.
Okay.
She met 2016 and 2020. Good sprinter too, Sandrine. And I meet Ariane. And when Ariane came to my group, I decided, because she was sick of swimming. She swam so much. She didn't want to train too long and everything. So my goal was to give her the love of swimming, that desire to be happy to train and to swim. So we came back to the sprint and to the 50. So we trained sprint, short distance. And I was sure that if I could make her believe that she could be fast, or make her believe that she could swim with the other faster swimmer in Canada at that time, at the junior level and the senior level, she would probably transit by herself to the 100.
Yeah.
And this girl is still swimming. And it was back into, we are 2021, was back in 2011 properly. But she's still in because she loves it.
Wow. She loves it. She found what she enjoys. And it's so special. It's really special. You know, you can't, I agree. I think I see myself a lot in you as to what you said about like being a coach now. I also have so much respect for coaches. Like, wow, like you say, you see potential, a person doesn't want to do it. I'm like, oh my God, why doesn't this person just want to do it? And it's amazing. But if they don't warm up for training, where you tell them 10 times, like you need 15 minutes, we've been there. Was it fun stretching every single day? No, but we knew we had to do it in order to get where we wanted to go, our goal, See, you can go upstairs if you want to go and ask, but not long, till 6. And that, I guess that also makes us very good at what we do, to be honest. Although we're hard with each other, but we're learning now also, like, what maybe that child needs. We're coming from a different perspective. You know, a lot
And
of
the
coaches
kids as well sending you the message. They're sending you, that are telling you what they want. And sometimes we don't listen because they're giving you, and you can just, a happy swimmer, look, I mean, you can recognize a happy swimmer. A sad swimmer, you can recognize them. They're giving you everything. Like something that I really, really enjoy is a swimmer that I had, and she was a breaststroker initially. She was a very, very good breaststroker. She won a couple of, I think she won one medal, or she was the top of the province in the province at a young age. But training with me, at some point, she started to ask for more training in distance. And me looking at her body, looking at her culture, the way I know her mom is running a lot. I know dad is coming from a football ground, and she's from, like, I mean, I could not feel the sprinter that she was identified at a young age. And she started to ask for more and more distance. And I was so happy to make that transition with her and her to be able to love it. And she finished a 1500 swimmer, you know? And because that's what she wanted to do.
That's so nice.
And if we would have probably added that earlier, story of the swimmer would have probably been different as well, you know?
Of course. But let alone that you together managed to get that already is already, of course, then as a coach or as a swimmer, you think, oh, imagine we started earlier. But that you guys did that already is something awesome, you know?
Thank you.
I see a lot of difference in back in the days and now. I definitely do see that, you know? I guess I'm seeing it now in Germany, to be honest, you know?
Yeah.
I can't compare it to South Africa. I'm busy watching a little bit of the trials in South Africa, and very interesting because, you know, I know how they swim there, and I know that everything around them is very difficult, Greg, you know, like the swimming pools, where they train, how they train, what the conditions are, that the water temperature is ridiculously cold most of the time. Not warm, but cold. I mean, I train in 17 degrees with no lane robes, you know. So I know, and when I see these results in some of the areas, I must admit, I'm like, wow. I have a smile on my face because I'm proud. Yes, because I'm like, you know, I don't know Chad Leclos, but like I knew Cameron. Cameron came to train with me just like maybe a couple of times, you know, when I was training in 2006 till 2008 with Caroli. He was still a little boy there, literally, you know. But I look at that and I'm like, wow, like I'm proud because I know what they have done to get where they are now. And then you look at where I'm now, we have, wow, our facilities are amazing, you know, seriously. And people still find a way to put it in a nicer, find excuses as to why they are still not as good, you know. And I'm thinking like, I'm fortunate. I must say, I look back, I'm fortunate that I swam in such conditions because I have so much more respect to small things in life in general.
I love what you're saying. You know, every morning
I lived in one bedroom room with a girl that we shared. I mean, this on a mattress. You know,
and it was good time when you think about it.
Yeah, I loved it.
It is. When I share the stories I had from Ivory Coast in competition with my swimmer, everything like what? Like you were sharing your room at 6-8 people? Yes. They were painting the number on the block to have the number.
Yes.
Was it? Yeah.
We had rock starting blocks.
Exactly.
I mean,
the same.
Like your wall in the background. We had in one competition cement starting blocks.
Yeah.
Terence Parkin, the deaf swimmer, who did so well. I mean, he has the biggest heart ever. We had one short court nationals. He ripped, because I mean, he's really strong. He ripped the starting block out at a competition. That just shows you just like our conditions, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
It does. Happen maybe in Germany or in the States or in Australia where the block would literally go flying and he's racing at like a short course nationals. Mm-hmm. And those are things that you just think about back in the days. And I'm like, wow, you know. Or I look at Graham Hill, so Chad's ex-coach in Durban. I see sometimes how he posts footages or pictures of their training conditions, or they're in a training camp, and I just laugh because some of the pools are like green and they've got
green. You don't see the bottom of the pool. It's like it's
I
rope in
remember
the
standing
water.
on the
Like
bottom of the pool and I'm sliding, and they're
Yeah,
like, "What is this?"
yeah.
It's like slime, you know. But you know what? Who cares? Look how these people are training. Look how Chad and his group there in Durban train, in Cape Town. I'm like, yes, that's how we trained. You know what? We come now to an Olympic Games, or you know, to a better pool, and for us, it's actually great.
It's
You
a
know,
five-star condition. Let's go. Just a blessing.
yes,
That's
it's like having, I don't know, I'm just saying, a sausage to caviar on a plate. Like it's
exactly.
cool.
But
It's
it's
such an
beautiful that you speak about
appreciation.
Chad. You know, the way Chad Leclerc looks, he looks like someone who really, really, really enjoy where he is at every moment. Like he's
Yeah,
fucking there and he doesn't care. Like I love watching him walk around the deck with his Google around the neck.
yeah, like he
Like,
doesn't
like
care.
you know,
Yeah,
love that. And I want to share with you something very personal. Every
yeah,
day, even before the pandemic, when I'm always the first time usually at the pool. I like to
yeah.
arrive very, very early to prepare everything to get ready for when they arrive. I want to be able to see them arrive and shake their hands. So when I arrive to practice,
That's awesome.
when they arrive, everything is done. So everything is on the board. My 3-4 program are on the board. The dry line is written. So when they come, I want to work them. I want to welcome them and see and share a little bit of how they feel, you know. And every morning when I open the pool, because swimming, I train in a beautiful place, like it's beautiful Saint-Claude-Robillard in Montreal. I mean, to me, it's like a 5-star pool. And every time that I get it in, I swear I think about I almost I'm getting emotional a little bit
Oh
because
my God, I'm getting emotional now. I've been doing this for a long time. Like
I
seriously,
remember.
I have like getting very emotional.
No,
Wow.
I do remember the pool when I've been through, and when I see that, I feel so blessed and so
Yeah,
happy to do what I do in this condition.
yeah.
And that I don't want to lose. The day where I lose this, I quit. I'm gonna quit because you will
Greg,
lose the
can I come
value
and
of.
swim with you? I'll come swim with you. I would love a coach like you. Sound like amazing. That's awesome. Like I kind of wish I could even do more nowadays. You know,
You know,
like
I in where we are in the society today, everything is not perfect. I'm not perfect. I made a lot of mistakes. There is things that I regret and I should have said a different way. You know, I'm very intense. I'm very passionate. I'm coming from another culture. You know, sometimes, and especially in those times now, we have to be very careful to what we say, to the way we say it. And I understand it, and I'm learning into that. And there is a lot of swimmers I would like to thank because of them, I
yeah,
trying to evolve and change. But it's hard. You know, we are from different culture, and
yeah,
sometimes you say comment or you make joke who really are not joke in the culture where you are living, and it can hurt
yeah,
people. And
yeah.
that I understand. And still, as a coach, what it hurts the most is when you have those moments where you are not going to satisfy everyone. And to me,
Yeah,
it's like very hard to accept. But I think it's part of the job.
definitely.
We are not all compatible, and some people will judge you a little bit and probably condemn you because you made those mistakes. And I have to learn. I think coaches have to learn about the mistakes they have done and recognize them and trying to
But
adjust.
coaches are like a psychologist, you know, in certain ways. It's not just about swimming, it's also about you deal with a lot of people face
Yeah,
to
but
face.
the line is very thin. You know, for some swimmer, when they come to talk about suicide, when they come to talk about anorexia problem, you have to
Yeah,
be able. I mean, I help the parents' problem. You listen. I have to say that I love my job. I miss it.
yeah,
Like you have no idea. The last year has been a heck of. I'm not coaching my elite group anymore like I used to. They swim
yeah.
in the public bass. I did like for 4 months or 8, like or 5, sorry, 7 Zoom a week training
Yeah.
with them. Like I send practices. I
It's
don't see them
crazy.
as much. This morning we run a little bit together, but I miss it. I miss it, and I don't know if it's gonna come back like it used to be. When it's gonna come back, we will enjoy it. I'm pretty sure.
You'll appreciate it, I think, even more, maybe,
Even
you
more,
know.
yeah,
Crazy.
even
I mean, we are already appreciating things so much more, but I think once I do believe things will get back to a certain extent. I think they kind of have to. I mean, here in Germany, it's very, very difficult at the moment. I mean, the vaccines and it's actually a lot worse than I expected it to be here for such how can you say, well put together culture and society when it comes to money. And, you know, and when I compare it to South Africa, we are somewhat very behind. So obviously I'm like, I hope it will get back to normal, but it kind of has to. Otherwise the people, it's just going to be on society. It's going to be very difficult for the people, you know?
It might be tough, but what I'm learning from that period the most is there is less projection. I do project myself a little bit less, and I enjoy day to day more.
Definitely. You
You
kind of take things differently now, you know, even with your family, you know, even if you have your own family, you're able to spend weekends. I mean, of course, I enjoy going to competitions and watching my swimmers race. To be honest, I find that like the best part, you know. But again, it takes away a lot of the family time where now, although we are very, very restricted to do anything, but you have the time with your child or children and with your loved ones. And I think, don't think it's a bad thing. I'm not saying like, you know, we as, say if I'm wrong here, but I think we're kind of people, we need a little bit of both, you know. We've always been like on the go and we go-getters in a different way, you know, and like, I don't see myself being home all day and doing the kitchen and the cleaning and the typical housewife thing. Like I do it because it's part of it, but I need that other part. I need that part that makes me, that fulfills me. So you have your family, definitely. I mean, that's obviously your number one priority because things change, but you have that coaching or that something that completes it. And I think now you're able to work a little bit more on the family, but I think I'm trying to stay positive. I think things will get better somehow. But I think we kind of people, we work towards our me part, you know, and we don't want to let go of that. I don't want to let go of that. I don't want to, it's kind of like a freedom in a sense, you know. People like to spend 24 hours together. I need that me time, and me time is either going to the swimming pool, either going for a run, you know, gone into like getting into meditation, doing yoga, just having that time for yourself. I think is very important.
It's very important to refocus and take time for yourself and
have that balance, you know.
Yeah, you need to find the right balance. Sarah, we are going through the end. We talk a lot, like I said.
No problem.
Pushing and pushing and
I'm
pushing.
just gonna let the kids in. Hang on a second.
No problem.
So many cool things to think about and like stuff that we share, even that we don't know about it, you know. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not just about the swimming, it's about everything around it, which makes sports so amazing. And I think that's also like what I'm trying to like teach my little girl, Sia, that I hope one day I don't expect her like to follow my way of success or in my eyes, you know, but I definitely hope that one day she can find something that just brings so much joy and like makes her happy, you know, and makes her succeed in whatever she wants to. So I do think like sport is definitely something that that can take you a long way, you know.
Yes.
In life, you know.
To me, like I said earlier, you know, we do everything, a lot of stuff on their own. We don't credit ourselves enough. And when I learned to do that, I think that because people around you tell, oh, it's amazing. Oh, it's not amazing because you're into it every day. But when you are out of it and you look it up, and even coaching, I always tell my swimmer that I'm proud of them. I always tell them that, wow, what you're doing is wow, because there is a little percentage in the planet doing what you're doing. Even just every day, there is people reminding you that you are weird or different. And that singularity is like this diversity. And diversity makes amazing things. And to me, like going to school, people used to call me the pool guy because my hair back in the day. My hair was all the time wet on the morning, and this guy is crazy. Every morning is swimming before practice. People don't understand that. If we are not from our world, you know. It's very, very specific what we are doing, and we don't. I mean, say it enough. We don't say enough that what they are doing is special. It is special. You don't need to be an Olympic swimmer or to be on the top of the world to do something special. Be part of that journey, training 8 times a week, 6 times a week, 12 times a week, whatever is your goal, is something special that a lot of people are doing. And we should value that. We should value that a lot. And
Greg, you put it together so nicely. And it's like, I kind of hope like even in future that we have more of these conversations, because it just, it really, it brings you back. How can I put it in a very easy understanding way? It's just like, I'm feeling very appreciative right now. Like, you know, like going back down memory lane, and you don't often sit down and just think about stuff, you know? Literally, like, you made me very emotional talking about it, even when you said, like, when you're the first one at the pool and how special. And it's like, gives me actually I've got goosebumps right now. It's
thank you.
So nice just to kind of talk about stuff and talk about like where we are right now, you know? Again, we've known each other. It doesn't matter if we don't speak every day or every other day. I feel like I saw you the other day, you know? And this is all about the sport that we share, and not about like success. Success is different in everyone's eyes, and it's just like, wow, if I didn't swim, we wouldn't be sitting here, you know? I wouldn't be in Germany. I most likely wouldn't be in Germany, you know? I wouldn't have this family. I wouldn't have the support of where I am right now. You wouldn't be in Canada.
I have one question to ask you.
Yeah.
If I have to think about the hardest set in breaststroke that you have done, if you can give me 2, I would take 2. Because I like swimmers to hear the story of training set. And I won't say fastest, I will say hardest. And then I will ask you the same question with something very, very fast that you have done in practice. And if you could describe.
Wow. This is difficult because I've got to think about it. But there was one traditional set that I thought was always very, well, they're a whole mixture of sets. But for instance, we had a lot of our medley training sessions were very, very hard. So, and very, very, if you look at it now, my children would say, wow, that was very boring. But the boring sets were like the sets that were like, you kind of needed to do, you know? Now you try and change things a little bit and make it fun. But so the hardest or the most I ever trained was 15 kilometers a day. So there were 2 sessions of 7.5. Okay. So that was maybe when I was like 14, 15. That's when I was killing it, like, 15, maybe even a little bit more kilometers a day. And that's not like doing weight training or anything like that. You know, that was just pool time. So one of the sessions was like, it was always just 200 warm up. That's it. And then it went straight into the training. So you kind of had to make sure you warmed up on land, obviously, you know. Brody was very, very intense about doing stretching, because he came from a lot of stretching background. And even after training, like stretching 15, 20 minutes, you know, no one went home. You just did it. So, so 200 warm up, IM. And then you had 4 sets of 450s fly. That was still like fine, you know, descending every set, always 1 to 4. We did a lot of descending stuff.
On what?
On 1 minute.
Okay. We are long course, huh? We talk long course. Okay.
Then we did 400s backstroke. I mean, I wasn't a backstroker. 400s backstroke. I don't know the starting times.
Probably on 6.
Maybe, yeah, it was difficult. Descending 1 to 4. And then you did 8 200s breaststroke, descending by 2, you know.
I can't wait to the end.
30 maybe. So 8 200s.
On 330?
Descending every 2. Okay. And then it was either 1500 freestyle at the end, or maybe an 800. And we always, every training, we always had a fly set in the beginning. So I did a lot of fly, and a hypoxic set. So we did 15 100s freestyle, 5 breathing every 5, 5 breathing every 7, 5 breathing every 9 with paddles, you know. And if it wasn't a freestyle hypoxic, it was a butterfly hypoxic with flippers, but still. And you know what, Greg? Now, this is the most interesting thing, which I tell my kids, and I'm very much into that. I believe it. I didn't have one injury. I didn't have any shoulder injuries. I had no knee injuries. Why? Because I always warmed up. Always. Now I'm falling apart. Now I've got backache, or you know, you have your things afterwards. But during my entire career, I had no injuries.
But training in IAM help a lot as well.
Yes, but I mean, like, how much breaststroke? I mean, I think the hardest training sets we did when I was with Vickers back in 2000, we went to Florida on a training camp, just him and me. And I mean, there were sessions where part of the session was 3/800s breaststroke, you know?
3/800 breaststroke?
3/800 breaststroke, or a 3,000 breaststroke, you know? And I didn't have knee problems. I mean, you would think like a normal breaststrokers, they go through phases or shoulder problems. And I did a lot of butterfly with paddles. You know, if I did that now, my kids would cry, you know, because they're not warmed up enough. You know, you see what your kids are capable of doing, you know. And so there were some crazy sets. And then we have another set, which I once did with I did a half of it with my kids, and they were absolutely finished. Was like, so 200 warm up again. Then you have 2 sets of 4 100s butterfly or 50s. It was always between 50 and 100, or sometimes 4 50s and a 200.
Okay.
You know? So,
spice it up a little bit.
Oh gosh. And then so you had a typical iron set, and you're going to laugh now. I think the Hungarians still do it because Katinka, I think I remembered it. And when I was in Hungary, we often spoke about it, even to the ex-swimmers. So you had 4 100s, 4 100 backstroke, bending 1 to 4, and a 400 backstroke full out. Then you have 4 100s and a 400, the same in freestyle. And you do that for backstroke, breaststroke, and freestyle.
So let's recapitulate. You start with 4x100 fly.
4x100 fly,
descending.
And a 400 IM. Because the 400 fly.
So you do 4x100 fly, descending 1 to 4. You go 400 fly, 400 IM after that.
400 free, 400 free, and that's it 3 times per stroke with the freestyle set. So fly free, back free, breast free, 1500 at the end.
You don't do so. You will go fly 4x1, 400 free, 400 back. 400 free, 400 breast, 400
No. So you literally have 4 100s
fly
and a 400.
Okay.
That's one little thing. And the same in freestyle. That's 1 round. So you basically have 8 100s and 2 400s. Oof. That's 1 round. And you do that 3 times. And depending how much time you have, either an 800 or a 1500 freestyle for time. Everything was always like descending and for time. You know, crazy. It was just basically the survival mode, you know. And if I did that now with my kids, I mean, I was, you know, we threw up, we felt sick, you know, and you know, you come out. They used to call me when I used to swim snowy because I was very pale always. It's a funny thing, very white. But so when I trained hard, the first thing what you can see is I was bright red, you know, I was glowing, and that was like a normal thing in training.
But you were trained and prepared to do that more than your kids. I mean, you had way more volume in your background and more development on that aspect to run into it. What would be the fastest one, if you remember? The set where, because in Adelaide I've seen some really good 50 set. Some dives,
very difficult 50 set once where that was closer to the time before the 2012. Literally, I was throwing up in the side of the pool. It was 1650s, but it was descending with a start every time. So always on top. And it was always like descending 1 to 4, but then the 5th one had to be the second time. So it was like a ladder, little bit of a ladder every time. But it was difficult because I think back then he gave me a time to start off on. It wasn't just like, oh, just swim and you start from there.
PB plus 15, PB plus 10, or PB plus, exactly.
Exactly. And every time getting out of the pool and like diving, and it was literally, I felt like I was sprinting from the third one, And at the end, I was like, you could throw me away, like a piece of cloth. But that's how I knew how to train, and difficult you want that for your kids. You explain to them, like, I know your max, and when I see that, oh, it's so cold in this water. I never used to be cold because I was always fast, Dave Salo's training method when I was there was 1 session in the day, but it was race pace, the
Quality.
entire training. So literally you get out and you are exhausted. And that exhaustion stays the whole day till the next day, So very different philosophies, obviously. But that was like, you either come and do it or you don't. And I like that too, But nowadays, I see kids in that age. When I was back very young, it's different, It's different.
Yeah. And how fast was those 60s, those 50s for you? How fast were they?
You're going to of like a 50 fan. I was actually more of the 100. When I was younger, I liked the 200. So the 50 was always like my fastest 50 was always the first 50 of my 100. Always.
Okay.
But when I was on the 50 alone, I wasn't as fast. So I can't remember times, to be honest. I was quite a good kicker. And,
that I remember what you were
very,
doing.
very good kicker.
I didn't introduce that. I didn't introduce that to my swimmer yet. But I remember you. So Carolee was allowing you to pull out with your board from the flag to the wall.
Yes.
But you were crazy fast. You were really,
kicking,
really.
I loved. Kicking, I was like, really yeah, not freestyle or backstroke, only breaststroke. And like, I really enjoyed like breaststroke, kicking and pulling. I did a lot. So those are a lot of things, obviously, that I learned that I think helped me, that I obviously try and put into my practice,
So the last question to finish this today would be, if you had good advice to give to the people who are going to watch us, if there is swimmers, if there is coaches, from what you have been through, from what you learn, and if you had something in a few lines that you could share to help anyone watching us, if you have a little advice, what would it be?
I definitely believe that one should follow one's own instincts. Easier said than done, but I do believe, like, I did the way I went through passion of enjoyment of things that made me happy, that fulfilled me. Being around positive people, being around people that share common interests, share common goals. And I do believe that being surrounded by positive people can change a lot, and the older one gets, I don't consider myself old, even if I'm 38 now, but I do realize that is very important in life. I've made a lot of new friends, and I've lost a couple of old friends due to that, because I think whatever you do in life, whatever people you meet in life, it's always a little bit of a give and take. And it's also paying things forward. You know that, like if you do something good, I believe that will help you. But I think just follow your passion, and don't let people try and persuade you otherwise. Try things. Don't be scared to fall and get up again, because I feel like from my experience, a lot of things that happened in my life that were very, very difficult for me at the time, but have made me so much stronger because I was able to see what had happened, like looking back, and it's helped me a lot. So it's very, very difficult to say what I would there is not one specific thing, but looking back, I think everything happened for a reason. And again, I'm not a religious person, but I do believe that there are certain things that pave your way too, but definitely, if you want something, you have to work for it. And you've even said it amongst the kids and like people that we deal with, like coming to you like, yeah, I want to do this and this, and like, yeah, okay, we can do that, but it has a lot of work. And if you're willing to do it, I'm there for you, and that's what I'm trying to like teach my little one, don't be scared that things, you don't have to be the best, but if you can do the best to your ability and be happy with that, that's the most important thing,
I love it. I love it because this answer that you gave through like 46 episodes now,
Yeah.
this answer coming back a lot. This
Thank
answer
you.
coming back a lot about the passion and the try stuff. And it's very, very important. Sarah, I had a good one. So this is my last question. I don't know if you're aware, but Tuesday 13, April 13, there was a big game. Last week there was a big game. When I talk about game, I talk about football.
Yeah.
And my team is Paris Saint-Germain. So what do you think about that game on Tuesday coming up? Are you going to watch it? Are you ready for that? Because I know how in Germany, because people, okay, I want to explain a little bit faster. I am a soccer fan. I like Paris Saint-Germain. Last week, and this the way now we are recording, Wednesday was the first leg of the quarterfinal against Bayern Munich,
right.
or Bayern Munich, and
Well.
Paris won 3-2. And from the German and the football society aspect, it's like a miracle for them to win.
Yeah.
But I don't see it this way. I think that the way Bayern plays, the attitude they have, it's a bit not pretentious.
Yeah.
But you are so confident in your plan that you play with
you blindside it
a little bit, and you open yourself, you expose yourself in your game because of that confidence to the counter that they put on you. If
I understand
those guys score those goals, is because probably you were a little bit, if you like in soccer, it takes 2-3 meters more or less to be right on the defense side. And I think that yes, you guys dominate the first game. Yes, you guys had like you had a wall in front of you in Navas, but the way Paris plays that game, there is a lot of stuff to learn and understand from it, because it's not the Bayern from the last year and the Bayern from the year before. I think
and
they
I'm
are
not
weaker.
a big soccer person, and you know what? I heard about the game, and the way you say it, it's like I do believe certain things do happen because there's more just to it. That you're right. I know from what I hear and read in the media, you're right. They're very, very confident, but they must have done something right, your team, to have won it, because it does take a team to do it,
Yeah.
And they must have done something. That day was their day. And I do believe that. Obviously, I don't like to say there's a loser. Unfortunately, in soccer, you have a winning and the losing team, In swimming, you have the second and the first and the second place. But at the end of the day, we need to, if we really want to know what's going on, you have to go into their training. You have to see what they've done.
And we're not there.
Then just, I won, or we didn't win today, because they obviously did something right, and always very difficult. That's why I think like team sports is always very like interesting for me, because it's not just one person, it's like a team. So in team sports, it is you playing together. So that's very, very must be very difficult. I mean, like I said, I don't know what it would feel like, but I think it's awesome that that there are others out there. It's not always the same team. It's also like people getting better.
But I do think if they still think that way, they are too much confident, and they still think that's a mistake. That should not have happened.
Yeah,
they're gonna lose. They might lose.
Definitely.
Because it happened for a reason. You must find that reason, because the second leg might look the same, won't look the same, but I don't think it will look the same. But they're gonna play with the same quality, you know.
Yeah.
But I won't miss to text you when the game starts.
Oh, you will. I know you will.
I will for sure. So, guys, Sarah, thank you very much.
Greg, it's been
I
absolute
had the
pleasure.
blessing talking
So
with you today.
Seriously, you made me feel like I was back in time and like going through such amazing things and being able to share them with you. Thank you. And like I really, really appreciate it to have such a deep conversation about our passion. And unfortunately, I must admit, it's on such few occasions that we really, I am really being able to talk about it, you know. But
that's good. That's good, and I'm very, very happy that
really, really
everyone going to
fantastic.
watch us will be able to use it and share it and learn from it.
For sure.
Thank you very much, Sarah. It was Sarah Poewe,
very good.
my sister from another mother, once again. And I have to find that picture I told you that we took together. I'm gonna find it.
I'm sure I've still got it. I just don't have it here in Germany, but I'm sure
I will find it. So Sarah, thank you very much. It was the last episode of All the Talk. I'm gonna work on many more. I hope you will enjoy that one. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to push the movement, guys. We need you, because once again, I do it 95% of it. I do it by myself. It's a lot of job. So keep helping us. Keep clicking on that thumb, and everything is going to go well. I will provide more and more. Thank you once again, Sarah. Bye. It was All the Talk, the last number. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.